Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm doing some Christmas projects on wood that I found dotted around in my stash. I'm going to be using napkins and some paint, some Mod Podge. Got two of these and I found a chopping board and I found another chopping board. Now that's got something on it, but I think it's just painted on, so I can just sand that, and I could paint that one, couldn't I? And then I've just found a picture made of wood, and I don't know whether to do something around there as well. So, and then I've got an arrow. That one's already been painted, so that's ready to go. These are the bits of wood I've got, and I've got a few napkins. Maybe that could go round the picture frame. I've got a deer, I've got a Christmas tree, I've got a lovely little squirrel. Is it a squirrel? Yeah, I think it's a squirrel. Oh, and I've got these as well, like a wreath with Merry Christmas on. So there's a few there. I can decide which ones I'm going to do first, and I'm going to decide which ones I'm going to paint. So I've got my chalk paint all ready. I've got my iron ready as well. So let's get cracking on this, shall we? So I've got my two pieces of wood I'm going to paint now. So I'm going to do that one and that one. I'm using Decor style chalk paint in chalk white, what I got from Aldi. They're usually $5.99, but I picked this one up for $3.99. It was on offer. I'm going to give these two coats and round the edges as well. Now I'm getting my napkin out. I'm going to be using this Christmas tree. I'll just cut it. You can get 4 trees out of one napkin. So I'm just going to cut one. And this napkin's a 2-ply, so I'm just going to take off the bottom one, so you're left with just one single ply. And then I'm just going to rip around the edges. So now I've done that, it's all jaggedy around the edges. You could cut it closer to the Christmas tree if you want as well. I'm just going to get my Mod Podge now, and I'm going to Mod Podge from the bottom halfway up to where the Christmas tree top is with a brush. So I'm going to be doing this a different way. I've seen on YouTube, usually you use the Mod Podge, you put it on your wood and then you put the image down and then go over it with Mod Podge again and then wait for it to dry. But what I've seen on YouTube was she brushed Mod Podge onto a piece of wood and then left it to dry. So while that's drying, we'll go on to the picture frame. I'll give this picture frame a coat of paint, and I've chosen this napkin to put on right round the picture frame. So I'm just separating it to make it 1-ply. I'm just going to do this the way I usually do it, just putting the Mod Podge on, and then I put the napkin over it while it's still wet. I'm just doing the top half first, and then I'll do the bottom half, making sure I'm smoothing out any wrinkles. I've got some cling film here, which is great for getting any wrinkles out. It doesn't rip the paper or anything. And once I've done that, I'm going to leave this to dry on its own. Now it's dry, I'm going to make a little rip in the middle and then take all the excess napkin off. And I've got a little sanding sponge here, which I'll go around the edges, and it takes off the paper really easily, and it does leave a clean edge right the way around. And I'll do the inside of the picture frame as well with the sanding sponge. That's done. It looks great, doesn't it? So the next thing I'm going to do is get my cutting board, which I Mod Podged before. That's dried now. So I'm going to make a start on decorating that. I'm getting my iron ready now. I've plugged that in and I'll wait for that to heat up. I won't be using the steam on this either. So I'm going to place my image onto the bottom half where I Mod Podged, and then I'll get some parchment paper and put some parchment paper on over my Christmas tree, and make sure it's in the middle. I'm just eyeballing it at the moment. And then I'm going to get my iron. My iron's on high at the moment with no steam, and I'm just going to heat my napkin, and with the heat the Mod Podge reactivates and it sticks your design or whatever you want to put on it. I ironed it for about 2 minutes, going round in a circular motion, and it's all stuck down. It looks amazing, and it's so smooth as well. I've cut out a Merry Christmas using my vinyl, and I'm using my Cricut Explorer Air 2, and you could easily hand write it, or you could even print off a Merry Christmas just with your normal printer and copy paper, and then just fussy cut around it, and you could use that on your project with a bit of Mod Podge. And here I'm just burnishing it, so it's going to stick to my transfer tape. I always do the back and the front. Then I'm going to position it on the top, making sure it's in the middle. And then with my scraper I'll burnish that down and then remove the transfer tape. And that come out great. I've got a wooden star here that I'm going to glue on top of the Christmas tree. I bought these from Amazon in a big pack. So here I'm trying to attempt to do a couple of bows. So I've got some red satin ribbon and I've got some red and white gingham as well. So hopefully I don't mess it up. So here I'm doing 2 loops and then tying them together, and that should make the bow. So I'll glue this gingham bow to the red bow, and then I'll glue it on top of the chopping board. And then I'll dovetail the ends. I found some red and white jute twine, so I'm going to feed that through the hole in the middle, so I'll be able to hang it somewhere in the kitchen, and then this project will be done. Now back to my picture frame. It's all dry now, so I'm going to get my glass and give that a good clean. And then the cardboard on the back of the picture frame, I'm going to give this a coat of paint with some chalk paint. I think I'll give this 2 coats and then let it dry. And now the paint's all dry, I'm going to give it a coat of Mod Podge, ready for my napkin. Making sure all the edges are coated. And then I'll set that to dry, and then I'm going to be using the ironing method again. I've got my iron all heating up ready, and I'm going to take my napkin and take the second ply off. That leaves me with just the 1 ply, and then I'll position it onto the board that I've just painted, and then I'll just go over it with the iron for about 2 minutes, and then I've got some parchment paper to put over as well. So that looks great, it's all stuck. And then with my sand and sponge, I'll go around the edges and take off all the excess. It's great using the sponge because you get a really good clean line. Now that's turned out brilliant, so I'm going to put it in my picture frame now, and then that project is done. I didn't paint the back of the picture frame because it's going to be hung up on the wall anyway, so you wouldn't see it. So this is all painted, and I'm going to attempt to stain this. I haven't got any proper stain, so I'm going to use some burnt umber. So I'm just going to put some paint in here, and then a bit of water. Give it a stir. And then with a sponge, I'm just going to sponge it on. Like that. And then just take the excess off. It looks like stained wood now, doesn't it? So I'll do that all the way around. So I'm going to let that dry a bit. So I found some scrap paper crafts card, what I made Christmas trees with last year. I'm going to pick some out and I'm going to cut some Christmas trees. So I saw that one, found that one, that's nice. Does anyone else keep these scraps? I quite like that one. Right, so I've got a few cards, pieces of card. So I'll get all these cut out on my Cricut machine. So I'm on Cricut Design Space and I've got my Christmas trees what I want to cut out. I'll just send this to the Cricut machine. So I've got my different Christmas trees where I want them cutting out. You just change them where you want them to be on Cricut Design Space. So now they're all cut out. Nice, aren't they? You don't have to have a Cricut machine to cut these out. You could just use a pair of scissors, but I went the lazy route. I'm just going to position them on my wood. So I want the big one in the middle, and then I'll have one here and that one there, and then the two little ones can go either side like that. So it's going to be like that. So I'm going to stick this with Mod Podge. Right, so I've got my Mod Podge and I'm going to start with the middle one and try and position them in the correct place. So that's where I want them positioned. So I'll put a little mark underneath there, underneath that Christmas tree with a pencil. So that's where my middle's going to be. We'll start with the middle one first. You won't see that line, that pencil line, because I put the Christmas tree over it. Okay, so start with the middle one. Yep, so that's the middle one done. And then I'll do this one. And that's the 5 trees. Pretty. So the next thing I'm going to do is do a Merry Christmas on the top there. I was going to stencil, but I've changed my mind. I'm going to use my Cricut machine again. So I'll go ahead and do that now. So I've found some silver glitter iron-on. So I've got the Cricut to cut out a Christmas tree and I'm going to iron that on. I've set it for 2 medium heat, and I'm going to use a piece of parchment paper because I don't want the cardboard getting heated up. I've put some heat resistant tape on there just to keep it in place. And I'm just going to do each letter for a couple of seconds. I'm going all the way down. So I've got the heat on all of the letters now, so I'll just keep on moving this for about 60 seconds. So we'll just let that cool a bit and wait for it to cool to touch. Yep, that's fine. So let's have a look and see if it's stuck down here. Yep, that's fine. So what do you think? I've got this board now. This is the one I done the burnt umber wash on, and I've got a little star, and I cut out, this is foam, glitter foam, and I had my cricket cut out a J and a Y, and I've got a Cricut Explorer A2, and you have to use the deep cut blade for this. It done 4 passes and it come out brilliant. So I'm just going to get my glue gun and glue all these together, and then this project will be done. Simple, easy. And that project is done. Right, the next project is the other chopping board. I've given it 2 coats of white chalk paint, and I've printed off an image off the internet, and I'm going to Mod Podge that onto my cutting board. So let's do that now. I cut it down with my guillotine, and it's going to overlap on the cutting board. So then I can use my sanding sponge and just clean off the edges. I'm going to use this sponge. I've never used a sponge before, you know, doing the Mod Podge, but I'm going to give it a try. So I'll give this a big coat of Mod Podge. And so you can put loads on, but to the edges, and then I'll try and position this. Can you see? I'll wait for that to dry before I start removing the corners and all the edges, otherwise I'll just rip the paper. So while that's drying, I've cut a Merry Christmas out of red vinyl here. Right, so I'm just going to weed this. I cut a Merry Christmas. Ooh. I can start putting it on. my cutting board. I'm just going to get some transfer tape. I get this roller tape from DP Supplies, and this has lasted me about 12 months and I've still got loads. So I'm just going to put the transfer tape on here. And then I'll get my weeding tool and give that a burnish. Flip it over. And then it should come off like that. And I think I'll just put it right there with that burnish. There we go. That's that down. I've got the little leaves, and I'm just going to revert back to the image on my computer to find out where these go. So this one goes up here, right there. Next I'll go round with the sandpaper and take all the excess paper off, and then I'm going to use the sandpaper to distress round the chopping board as well. I found some lovely red and white gingham, and I'm going to put a ribbon round the middle where the paper finishes. And I'll make a matching bow. So I'm not very good at bows, but this is my attempt of making a bow. 2 loops and then tie them together. Next I'm going to hot glue the bow onto the handle of the chopping board, and then I'll cut the tails. I've got my hot glue gun ready, so I'm just going to hot glue this ribbon onto in the middle of the chopping board, and then I'll hot glue the bow as well. The very last thing is hot glue this bow, and then I'm going to hot glue one of the tails so it stays in that place, and then this project is done. So we've done 5 projects today, and I'm really happy with all of them. I know they're not perfect, but you know, if you enjoy doing the crafts, it doesn't matter if they're perfect or not, does it? So I'm so happy with these. I hope you like them. And let me know what you're making for Christmas, any Christmas crafts. So don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!